Hello and welcome everybody to today's webinar. What's new in the Visual Production Scheduler and the Visual Job Scheduler for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. My name is Martin Karlovic and I'm your host for today's webinar. I'm CEO and one of the owners of NETRONIC Software here from Germany. And I'm really happy if you reach out to me with any question that you have, either by email or as a LinkedIn connection or a message on LinkedIn, or if you like, you can also send me a tweet, but my personal preference, if you ask me, is either LinkedIn or email. So today we have a lot to cover because we actually have some exciting new functionalities in both the Visual Production Scheduler and the Visual Job Scheduler. But before we start, a couple of housekeeping details. As always with these webinars, you're on mute. And the reason is that we don't want to get disturbed by unwanted background noise. Of course, you're more than welcome to ask any kind of question. For that, I cordially ask you to use the GoToWebinar chat pane. So if you have a question, type in your question there, and it's more or less guaranteed that I will answer the question during this webinar. If I'm on PowerPoint and you ask the question, then I will try to answer it immediately, because then I also get a pop-up notification here on my screen. But when I'm doing the demo, I'm actually on another system, so then I'm presenting from a virtual machine, and there I don't see these pop-up questions. So then give me a couple of minutes to finish the part of my demo, and when I'm returning back here to PowerPoint, then I see your question, and then I will answer it. And I will also review the questions at the end of this webinar, so that we make sure that although you are on mute, no question remains unanswered. And if you have bigger things to discuss that we cannot handle in this meeting, then drop me a note and we set up a separate meeting to run through all your questions. So now let's get closer to the content of the webinar, but with another announcement. We are actually running an exciting event that we call Nextbinatronic, and this is the second time that we do this, and these events are actually meant to be the contrary of such a webinar. In a webinar, it is typically one person, most of the time me, presenting and you on mute. And a webinar is always, at least in the way we run it, always very product-centric, whereas Nextbinatronic should be a discussion rather than a presentation, and it should be focused on a topic rather than on a product. So the topic for the next event is the constant battle between production planning and scheduling. And we will do this initially as a live expert panel discussions. So with me will be James Crowder, the Microsoft MVP and the Managing Director of TechMan from the UK. I have Peik Beck Anderson with me, who is a consultant and also the guy who wrote the book about Dynamics Nav and manufacturing. And from North America, from Canada, we have Mike Fontaine, who is a solutions expert and who has done, I think, more than 100 Navision and Business Central manufacturing implementations and consultants projects. So he is pretty familiar with manufacturing Business Central as well. And this will be on October 27, I think an hour later than now, so 5 p.m. German time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. You can go to www.netronic.com/next, and there will be a page where you can register, and then we will definitively send you some calendar invitation and stuff like this in due course. So the purpose of this is like we will do half an hour panel discussions with some prepared questions so that we can have a lively and controversial discussion about production planning and scheduling. No product demo, I promise. And after that, we will actually open the meeting room so that everyone from you can also ask questions to all four of us. So this should become very interactive, very lively, very vivid. So really, I would appreciate if you, after this webinar, go to netronic.com/next and sign up so that we meet you again in 2 weeks. And with this, let's talk about the Visual Production Scheduler and the Visual Job Scheduler. And just for the purpose of this webinar, I looked back into the release history, because it seems that also when it comes to Business Central and our apps, we have been doing this forever. But truth is, we started with this 15 months ago, or 16 months ago, whatever, but less than 1.5 years ago. And we see ourselves really in a continuous enhancement process for both of the products. So now we are on version 1.8, and we released both products in June last year, came up with the first enhanced version in July, then one in August, in October, in November, in February, in April, in June, and now beginning of October, end of September. So this is really like our development team is really doing an amazing job here, and all credits to these guys that they managed to bring out new versions in this short amount of time. And what you see from this is that with this product, this is not a one-off. These are not products that we kind of threw over the fence once and then leave them there, and that we do not care for your clients or for you if you're an end customer, but we really take care that we continuously enhance these products, that these products grow, that these products get updated, so that if you or your customers invest in these products, that you really have a security of your investment. And every new version that we have shipped since June last year always contains 3 things. There are bug fixes. We do always internal work to improve performance and stability. So this is both of this more or less happens behind the scenes. But then every new version includes new features and function. And then if you have a valid support and maintenance agreement with us, then every new version with new function is free to use, so you can update at no charge. And if you run VPS or VJS from app source and are under a valid subscription payment model with us, then also you get all these new versions with these new features at no additional cost. So I think this is really a good benefit for you. And what is also, I think, of a great benefit for you is that whenever we build such a version, we go again to Microsoft and again and again and again, and with every version we aim for app source recertification. So we want to make sure that whatever version we ship, it complies with Microsoft's app source requirements. And we know that this is a little bit of overhead effort that we are taking, but we are happily taking it, because we want to make sure that whatever we ship to you guys and to your customers is in sync with what Microsoft is expecting from an ISV like us. And then with both products, you see it was kind of monthly cycle last year. And now the time slots become a little bit larger. So now we're in a development cycle of releasing at least 1 new version per quarter. I personally don't want these time frames to become longer. So I want to really make sure that every quarter at least we ship 1 new version, so that bug fixes get out fast, that improvements get out fast, and that new versions get out fast. I prefer kind of breaking a big feature into smaller chunks and ship then the smaller chunks first, and then complement the functionality while part of this can already be used, rather than waiting for a long period of time and then make this big bang release. So we continue to kind of look at like quarterly release cycles. And of course, if you have any idea, if you have any thought how to enhance the products, then please let me know. We are really happy to take your ideas, and a lot of the new features that we build into these versions actually are features that were raised, or ideas that were raised by you or by your clients. So please continue with this, but also kind of please accept that we cannot realize each idea, especially if you come with ideas that are very customer specific. Then we can look at doing a customer enhancement, or that are kind of completely contrary against the kind of the scope and the philosophy of the products. But most of the time, actually, when we get ideas, we evaluate them, and then we can add them to our list of future versions. So this is what's happening. And now let's look at the visual production schedule at the new version 1.8 just released. The version is already available for our partners to download from our team-based partner portal, and the version is already available for everybody in App Source. So it runs with all Business Central versions, including version 17. Should be no problem at all for you to download it from there. So we are also trying to kind of stay current with everything what's happening with respect to Business Central. So in the VPS, this time there are just two kind of new things. This is what we call the histogram view and the capability to change the text in the left-hand table. So we did a lot of functional enhancements in the last versions, and this time we shifted a bit development capacities actually from the VPS to help with some of the stuff in the VAPS, which I spoke about, I think 2 weeks ago, where I had a webinar on the VAPS. But this is not like that this remains forever. So we have some plans also for the VAPS, which I will reveal at the end of this webinar. So let's have a look actually what we did with respect to the VAPS, to the VPS, sorry for that. And let's see if I'm still logged into my Business Central. No, obviously I'm not. And I'm still in Business Central 16 here, so I have to update my internal system as well. So what I won't do now, by the way, in my demos, I won't explain everything about the VPS. So if you're really completely unfamiliar with the VPS or the VJS, if you have never seen these products before, then you will get an idea of what these products are meant for. But then I either recommend to you to look at one of the webinars we did in the past where we fundamentally introduced the products, or reach out to me and then we set up a demo for you so that we can run through the products in all the details. So this webinar is really meant to spend on the things that are new. So with the VPS, the Visual Production Scheduler, we provide a graphical drag and drop front end to standard Business Central manufacturing. So with the VPS, you can do whatever you can do with Business Central manufacturing, but in a graphical way. So the VPS opens in what we, or if you want it, it opens in the production order view, but we also have what is called the capacity view, and new, we have the histogram view, and we come to this later. So in the production order view, here on the left-hand side, or we see production orders sorted by their status, if they are planned, firm planned, or released. And then every line here represents one production order. So this is one production order 10, 10, 11 for a bicycle. And then you can drill down. This is a production order line. If you have multiple production order line in one production order, like I have here, then you see all these lines. And then from the lines, you can drill down into the routing. And then here I see the routing. And in the background, gray and white stripes, this kind of represents the work time and the non-work time coming from the shop calendars of the respective work and machine centers that are assigned to do these operations. And of course, you can make drag and drop changes. So if it changes, then in my case, I move it. I want it to move. And then you see the successors get moved. And I also get some notifications. So let me restore this to initial values. And you see I get a warning actually because I get a warning because my due date is violated. And let me get rid. This is now coming from the VAPS. So note to myself that we should make this anyway. That we should make this configurable, but anyway, so this is general functionality of the VPS. And now what we have done as new feature is, you see that we have left-hand table here. We have different type of table text. So here we see, for example, the production order number, and we see the description in brackets. And then here we have, like, this is, let me double click here, production order. Double click should open the, let me click here. Then the respective production order card opens, and you see there is just one production order line, which is this information. Whereas here, if I double click on this thing, I also get the production order card. And then you see that there are multiple production order lines. And these figures that you see here represent the production order line number. as you also can see from this info window that pops up, the fourth information from the top. So now we oftentimes had the request that customers want to change the information that is displayed here in what we call the table. And we already added functionality in previous version to customize this info window, which we call tooltip text, and also to customize this label text. So now I will show you, and this is new functionality with this version. I show you how to actually customize this table text, and then we have a quick look at how you customized also this bar label here. Okay, this is something that we shipped, I think, with the last version. So let's first change this text. So this is on the production order line information, and I do not want to see this meaningless line number here, but I think in a case like this, it would be really good to know what kind of item this is and maybe what kind of quantity this is. So I want to have different information and more information. So I could change this from action administration setup, and this is user specific. And then I can go here in this longer setup page. I could go to action configuration, and I want to change the table. And in the table, I do not want to change information in production order line. I think production order number and description is quite reasonable, but I want to change the production order line information. And what we said is, instead of the line number, I would like to see the item number. And then I want to see additional information. And in order to kind of have this not next to each other, I say, okay, I actually want to format this a little bit. So I want to add a space. And then maybe I want to add a next format so that we don't have item number and quantity next to each other. Then I can say, okay, I want to have this pipe sign, and then we have space again. And so you can see, you can actually build whatever you see, space again. And now let's look production order line, further information like quantity. Okay, so now I can also add the quantity here, which is there. So now I say, okay, I close this, I close this, and I close this. And then you see, boom, this got changed. So now I see which item this is and how many I'm going to produce. And also here, I see the item number and the quantity. So this is automatically updated. And I think that this is quite awesome because now you can do this on this line, like you saw. From here, let's go back again to this menu. You can do this on the production order, which is here. You can do this on the production order line, which is here. You can do this on the routing line, which is here. And then in the other view, you can do this on work center group level, work center and machine center level, and we will have a look at this in a second as well. So like we could change this one, we could also change the information that is displayed here. So now you see what I have here is the routing number, so 10, 20, 30, 40, also rather meaningless information. So, and this is functionality we actually added to the VPS, I think with the last release, but just in case you haven't seen it, same information, same type, same principle. I want to change the operation in the production view here. Right now I have the operation number, and maybe I want to see here, I don't know. I want to also see the item number. Let me make a little bit double bubble information, makes no sense. But anyway, I wanted to show you something. We actually have here an additional format string. So on the bar label, we not only have like space and different signs to separate information, but we can also introduce a new line so that I have in the first line now the item number, and the second line, let's just put in there the production order status. Also makes not real sense, but just that you see this, the status, bam. And then we can also add more information here. But if we do it like this, then you actually see that these boxes got higher now, and we see that this is the item number and the plant, but we could also do like the item number and then whatever, setup time, runtime, wait time. that would make more sense actually. But anyway, so you can configure this. Likewise, you can configure this now in the capacity view, where we look at the same information now from work center group level, work center, and then machine center level. So if you want to change this text here, like that, you not only have the name of the machine center, but also the capacity or whatever, then you can see this information here, and you can customize it in the same way. Okay, then actually from this view, you already know that we have something that we call a histogram, which is the capacity load chart that shows you, like now I have this by minute or by second, that this outer line, this is the maximum available capacity. It is here in this case, it is 1 during the work time and 0 during the non-work time. And you see when there is an operation assigned to it, you actually see that this is gray. And when I move this a bit, then you see that this is automatically updated in the bottom. And I can switch this view actually, or I can change this resolution of this histogram, which is currently by second, but I can also see this, for example, by day, and then I see actually what my daily capacity is in terms of minutes and how much to which percentage this is loaded. So now I'm having kind of load of 308.7 minutes of a total capacity of 900 minutes. So we added now a third view to the VPS where we can see just where we have the same structure of data, but where we have no bars indicating the operations, but where we just have these histograms. And then it looks like this, that we see the work center groups, and then per work center and per machine center, the histograms, so that on one screen I immediately see where I have an overload. And now this is in the same kind of daily resolution, but I can change it, and then I see it by week or even by month or by second, whatever is good for me. So this is also new, and I see kind of where my schedule is tight and where I have a lot of flexibilities now in a weekly aggregation. So these are the things that we built for the VPS. And now let's look where we are with respect with the VJS, the Visual Job Scheduler. Again, also version 1.8. Same information regarding the availability. You can download it if you're a partner from our Teams-based partner portal, so that you can update your demo environment or can update your clients. And if you are on Microsoft running Business Central from Microsoft App Source, the new version 1.8 is already available for everybody in App Source. So feel free to download it from there and use it or play with it, or preferably buy it, or subscribe to it, to be precise. So in VJS, we did a couple of more things. So first of all, we also have the histogram view, and it is the same like in the VPS. So I won't show this again. And we also have the capability to change the text in the left-hand table. This is also the same as you have just seen before. So I won't show it to you again. And by the way, we also can define flexibly change the tooltip text and the bar labels in the VJS, as you have seen before. So there is now a lot of, let's say, customization and individualization capabilities. In addition to this, we actually worked a lot on making we worked a lot on kind of facilitating the work with job templates or project templates. So from now on, and this is a long promised feature which never worked 100% perfect, but now actually, if you create links between job planning lines in the VJS, and you save the project, and then you create a new project based on that old project, so you use this one as a template, then these links can be copied if you copy the job. And this works now in all cases that you can imagine. And this is really cool because this allows you a true template-based project scheduling. And then we thought this through a bit, and we thought, okay, what things do you actually need to do after you created a job that was copied based on a template, including links that created in the past. And then, of course, we came to the idea that we recognized that, okay, once the job is copied, I may change the quantity of a job planning line. So in my template, it says it's 40 hours, but I recognize for this customer, it should be 60 hours. So rather than then opening Business Central again, we now allow you to change the quantity of the job planning line. Then if you have links created and now you have this job planning line that you enhanced from 40 to 60 minutes, and then you recognize, oh Jesus, I need to split this. Then if you split this, okay, then first I want to determine what I should do with the split. So should I split it 30-30 or 40-20 or 50-10 or whatever? So we now enabled this change, and then when we split this, we actually kind of also copy the link structure from the old job planning line. So this makes working with a job template much better. So we have enhanced splitting functionality, and then also once we have the job, we might actually assign a new resource to a job planning line. So we made this better in terms of that now when assigning for example, a resource to a job planning line or a job planning line to a resource, it works in both ways, that you then also kind of can determine the exact quantity. So overall, more or less the theme of this release was kind of first use what has been built for the VPS, and then second kind of facilitate working with job templates, and this is something that I would like to look at with you again now. And for that reason, I changed to the visual job scheduler that I have. And first of all, like you know, when you start our extensions, this filter dialog comes up, and with this filter dialog, you actually can define data filters, so you can control the type of data that you load into the visual job or in visual job scheduler or visual production scheduler. So here I actually have a couple of filters, and I have one filter that is called show project templates. So if we look at this filter, then we see it is a filter by job number, and I have built a couple of templates where I started the number with master. So now I want to first look with you at my master jobs, at my job templates, so that we just see those jobs, okay? So now you see I have actually 4 templates, and you see some of them represent more complex projects like this one. Let me expand this also. So now this is the job view. We look at individual jobs by their status. So this is one job. We start here in February, we end mid of April. You can double click on the job bar, and then you come to the job card. This is exactly like you know it from the VPS, like with expand all. I can drill down now into the job task, into the sub job task, and then in the planning lines. And if I click on one of these boxes, this is actually one box is a job planning line, then you see that I defined already dependencies between these job tasks with these job planning lines in my template. So defining links is something that you can do with the Vue.js, and we store these links in our tables, so to say, and the links that we can currently define are either, like we see it here, finish start links, or let me look for an example. We also have, like in this particular case, a start link, which means that this task should not start earlier than that task. So if I move this one, then like everything that follows is moved as well following this link structure. If I move this job task here, like with this bar, then everything below is moved, and then the link triggers the move of all the successors. So quite standard project planning functionality. So now let's drill down and actually look at it for the further demo purposes. Let's look at this master project that I call Lean Project Master Lean. I'm actually bad at inventing project names, but anyway, so let me expand this all. So we have the kind of the same principle. we have let me collapse it and I'll make it slower. We actually have a quite simple project structure. It is we do a technical specification. When we are done with this, we approve the design with the customer. So this is a kind of engineering to order example where you have a technical office doing some CAD drawings and stuff like this for some custom work you do for a customer. Then you review it with the customer. You do an installation of the stuff that you designed and built, and then you get the acceptance from the customer. So really pretty straightforward. So then in the technical specification, we have the design definition and doing some CAD modeling. We then have the design approval, where you first develop the design and then get the customer sign off, and then field installation. I think it's like a few steps, and then you see below these job tasks, there are the job planning lines. And if we expand this all, then you see here in my template, it's the kind of similar structure as I had before. So I did some time scheduling in terms of the sequence. I created some links to define dependencies between the job planning lines. And I also put in like values it takes to complete this respective task. So now actually take this lean project master lean template to create a new job. So let's leave the VJS and go to jobs. And let me create a new job that we add to the schedule. And this is the new job in the webinar. It is for the Canon group. And we say, okay, when we look at this in the VJS, we select the color. Maybe we want to see this in whatever, in purple. And now the job is set up, and then I can say actions, copy, and this is standard Business Central functionality. I can say copy tasks from, and now I'm selecting the template that we looked at. So now I need to concentrate. This is the master lean template, boom, and then I say I want to start from the first task to the last task. And standard Business Central functionality, I leave the dates blank, but I want to copy quantity. And then I say, okay. And then my job is populated with job planning line, a job task and job planning lines, as you can see from here now. Okay. And let me get out of here. And you see also that, let me go down and drill down into the planning line. You see that actually for every planning line, or for every task, I have planning lines like I had before. And here in my template, I did it in a way that I assign each planning line to what we call the dummy resource, so that it is on, let's say, on group level first, and that then I can assign it like from a project manager to from the group project manager to a specific person. So now let's look at how this job number 240, the new job in the webinar, shows up in the visual job scheduler in this strange color that I selected. So now let's start the visual job scheduler again. And now this time I actually say, show my projects. So I don't want to see the templates. I don't want to see all the rubbish, because then I will see projects and templates, but I want to focus on my project that I really have to schedule. And again, let's look at how I set up the filter. It is again by job number, and now I'm selecting everything that starts with J, because these are my real projects. So the project that I, as a project manager, have to work on. So now I'm opening this, and we see that there is a new job in this wonderful color. And you see, I already, I love colors, so I gave every job a unique color. This is my new job. And now the first thing, and this is the one that is really new, and this works very well. I need to say expand all, And now when we look at the job, actually all the links are there and they work as defined. So now let's think of how a typical project schedule and how a typical project planning would look like. Well, first of all, I would say this is just a copy from a template, but every customer is a little bit different. So now I know that, okay, this is difficult. So I know that CAD modeling and drawing will not take 4 days, but maybe it will take 6 days. So it will not be 32 hours, but 48 hours. So I want to need to change the quantity of this. And this is also new. On a right mouse click, I can say change quantity. And then I change, now it's, you see it's 32. I change it to 48. I say, okay. And it expanded. And the job planning line has a new quantity, and the rest, because we have the linked structure, is moved out. And now I can say, okay, actually here again, our field installation is tricky, change quantity, and you get the principle, not 24 hours, but 40 hours. Everything got moved out. And again, here, second phase, really really tough. So it will not be like in my template, but it will be like 80 hours. So I can really quickly adapt the timing of my project, and then I can say save, and then all the job planning lines that got changed, they are updated in Business Central. So this is pretty smart. Then at some point of time, you actually, and maybe I also, by the way, what you of course can do, you can move the entire job, and then the complete underlying structure is moved as well with all the changes that I just made. And now you come to the point that you say, okay, actually, I do some resource planning. So now I need to move this from this virtual group level to the dedicated resource. So I can say, okay, my project manager for this project is Mary, and I move everything from Mary, that is for Mary, to Mary. So let me quickly do this. And this is standard VJS behavior. And I can do it like this, and I leave this just where it is. And then I say, okay, this goes to Paul, because I see some free capacity at Paul. And you see with all the colors here, you see exactly which bar belongs to which project. And my field installation team is Peter and Joe. And now just, you see, I made some strange things because I was not doing drag and drop. So from here I can schedule successor so that I can fix this again. Fine. Again, so now this is one for, oops, sorry for that. So this is one for Peter again, and this is for Joe, and so on and so forth. So now I'm assigning this to the people. Let me save this quickly. So now I'm really building a project, a plan, and now I actually recognize, okay, my customer calls me and say, look, this takes too long. Can't you send more people for the field installation so that we get this done? When you send 2 people or 3 people, that we get it done in faster time. And I think, well, I have some free capacity, maybe with Reese or with some of the other guys. With Alan, has nothing to do at all. Wayne has nothing to do. So let me split this. So enhance split functionality. I can say, okay, I actually want to split this 40 to 40, or I can say, well, you know, there are some stuff that actually I want to split it 48, and then this calculates the second value if this box is checked. And then you see I get a second bar, and the good thing is it knows the links, it knows the dependency, and now I can just assign this, for example, here to Reese, and we have all this link structure. So if this moves, then this will move, and if this moves, this will move as well. So when we split the job planning lines, we really also copy the links so that you, once you have defined them, that you can really work with them. And then the last thing that is also new with the VJS is that we now figure out, okay, these guys really, it is not enough to have just Reese and or let me do it the other way around. We actually say, okay, we do it from here. When we are doing the time planning, let me do it from here. It's easier. When we do the time planning, and now let's go down to where we were. Like we say, okay, actually for this phase 2, and let me save this so that we get this clear again. And let me reload the data. So then we say, okay, having this here with Joe will not work, and with the other guy with Reese, not sure why this didn't get updated. This is something I need to check, but we say, okay, we need actually to add a third resource to it. So then we can actually say that we toggle the creation mode, and then we see if we are in this job view where we have the job tasks here and the job planning lines, we see the resources here, and then we can say, okay, here are my field guys, and I have Joe and another guy, so I also need Alan for this, and then I can drag Alan to this task, and then I can specify the amount of time we need for Alan, and this is also new. It was by default 8, and now it's, you can select any number. So now, as this has been done to it, we don't know about the link structure because this is new. So now I need to say, like, from here, or from here actually, from this 8 hours, I want to start a new link creation. This guy should be part of the link creation. This is finish start. And from here, I also want to start a new link creation, and this should be the successor of it. So I end it here, and it's also finish start, so that then when this is got kind of moved for some reason, then the rest here is moved as well. And when this is moved, then all the dependent successors are moved as well. So we have now the capability to define the quantity when you drop a resource to a job planning line, or when we are in the other view. When we are in the other view where we have the resources, and if we want to add a new job planning line to a resource, then we can determine the quantity as well. So we have the capability to determine the quantity, like also from here, change quantity, and instead of 48, it's 100. So make it a little bit longer. And then the successors get moved. When we split, we can define the split parts, and we copy the links. And when you create a template with links and then create a new job from this template, all the links are there. And to my point of view, this really makes the VJS much, much more useful, and this facilitates a lot of use cases that you or your client might have. And of course, we have the histogram view here as well, so that we see how my groups and the resources are loaded. And we have the capability from administration user setup, like we saw it before, to actually configure the tooltip, the label, and the table as I showed you in the VPS. And with this, I'm done with what we did. And I think the team over here did a great job, because some of these are really, really cool enhancements that make visual scheduling, both of production orders, but also of jobs and resources, much better. And with this, let's look what we are going to work on during this calendar quarter. And first, we do some infrastructure investments in both products. So we actually allocated a lot of time to analyze performance in various cases, and then also make some dedicated software changes so that both products should become even faster. You saw that some notifications popped up that I didn't want in my demo. So we will actually create possibilities that per user we can enable and disable the notifications coming from our products. This is pretty standard, and something that is more for us than for you right now, but this is also something we need to allocate time for. We were waiting for Microsoft to come up with the licensing engine for apps on AppSource, but they don't do it. So now we, as many other partners, need to invent our own wheel. So we will build, especially for those scenarios where people deploy our products on AppSource, we will build some kind of monetization and licensing engine, because we actually see a lot of traction from AppSource, and we want to make sure that everybody is on the same page there with respect to downloading and using our extension. And as said, I was hoping and expecting that Microsoft would do something there, but they don't do. And so now we decided in Q4, we set some resources aside to work on this. However, we not only do infrastructure work, but we also will make some changes to the product, so some feature enhancements. With the VPS, we know that reservation entries are pretty complex, but they are also used in various scenarios. And also with the last version, we made a lot of under the hood changes how to deal with reservation entries. And we will further enhance this so that and further work on this so that we, in, I would say, most of all cases, we can prevent and avoid that reservation entries actually get silently deleted due to something happening in the planning board. And what we do with the visual production scheduler, we have the queue time that you can define on the machine centers, that we take this into account when you make drag and drop changes. This is actually a request that we have from a couple of customers. With the visual job scheduler, we, on the one hand, will enhance the view filter to include job task information, and then we will spend a lot of time working on the links. So let's go back quickly to the VJS. When we look at links right now, boom, 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 as said, and you saw it when I created this, when we look at the links right now, there are two kind of things to know. First, or three. First, these links never have a duration. So when they are like, in a way, when this starts, ends, then this can start. So if I say scheduled successor, this is brought forward so that there is no time gap between those. So currently, we cannot say that there should be a time gap of whatever 3 days between the end of this and the start of this. Second, these links currently are only between job planning line. So I can only link job planning line. I have no way to create links, for example, from job tasks. And as you saw when I created the links, we only or just have finish start and start links. As to our experience, these are the most commonly used links. But overall, we would like to kind of round up the possibilities you have with links in project planning and in the VJS. So first, we will allow links also between jobs and job tasks, so that you can say this job is dependent of this job, or this job task is dependent of this job, or let's say links we facilitate all combination of linking a job to a job task to a job planning line, and then job planning line to a job. So we will make really flexible options available of linking jobs, job tasks, and job planning lines. Then right now, as at the link types is finish, start, and start, and we will also facilitate going forward finish, and start, finish. These are not that often used link types, but from time to time they are requested, and we just said, okay, let's make this overall link bit complete. And in order to make it complete, we will also introduce link duration, so that you can say, okay, between the end of this job planning line to the start of the next job planning line, there should be a delay of 10 days. Or you can say, if it is a start relation, between the start of this and the start of the other one should be a delay of 3 days. So something of this we will make this complete, and this is going to come in the next version, and we are kind of looking at shipping this during this calendar quarter still. So this is what's on our plan for the shorter time. And with this, I'm done with what I prepared for you guys today. So if you have a question, then now would be a good time to ask. Or if you think your question is really too complex, to drop it in the chat box now, then send me an email or connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm really happy to engage with you, and I'm really happy to answer your question, to present this to you, discuss with your clients how to best use our product. So please reach out at any time. And if you have no question, then please stay safe and healthy, and go to netronic.com/next and register for our live panel discussion if you are interested in Business Central manufacturing. And with this, as there are no questions, thank you very much for being my guest today in the webinar, and see you soon. Bye-bye.